Hi everyone, and a really warm welcome to you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for coming here today, and my intention is to provide a really sincere and heartfelt message for you that is relatable and supports you in your life where you are right now. And the reading today is around soul journey and what are the next steps that your soul is inviting you to explore, or the areas to focus on in your life, and messages around these. And so with the reading, when I start doing the reading, if it feels like it applies to you and where you're at in life, then yeah, continue to dive in. And if it doesn't quite feel right, then obviously feel free to try a different pile or to try a different reading. So today I've got some really beautiful flowers that I've got in my house for you to help tune into which deck you would like to go with. And so on the left here I've got a beautiful white tulip. In the middle we have some tulip flowers, pink tulip flowers, and on the right hand side here this is a pink rose. So tune in and feel which one you're drawn to, and I will begin the reading. You can skip to the timestamps in the description below, and please remember to like and share or comment if anything comes up for you to support my reading. Thank you. Welcome to group number 2 who chose the pink tulip petals. So what I'm doing with this reading today is the oracle cards have already been selected, and I took some time. I meditated, and then I chose the question, and then I chose the cards, and then I sat with each pile of cards and I spent some time looking at them and feeling into them. So I have seen the cards already, which I know is different from how some people read, but for me it gives me time just to sink into the essence of the message and really get clarity and understanding so I can speak to it more directly. So welcome to your reading. So pile number 2, ask your soul. So this deck, this group, check you can see that okay. Beautiful, really beautiful cards. So it's called The Secret Language of Light, this deck. So this group, you are being asked to focus your soul work on your intuition, your psychic awareness, your connection with guides, connection with other realms, other energies. Okay, and so what this reading is inspiration and ideas in how to go more deeply with that. So you may have already been experiencing particular things recently. So you may have been seeing synchronicities, you may have had strange things happen, weird things happen, or just things that make you like question, is like something trying to be communicated to me here? And the answer is yes, you are being reached out to, likely by a guide, likely by someone or something beyond our physical plane that wants to connect with you more deeply. And so you're being asked to engage with that, to trust it, to trust that you are receiving messages, and to go more deeply with it. So let's see some of the other cards. We've got Earth Angel. I hope you can see, yeah, you can see these okay. Earth Angel. We've got Mediator. When I first saw this, I thought it said Meditator, and she kind of looks like she was meditating from a distance. But Mediator, and I'm also taking Meditator as a potential reading for that card too. Sensitivity. Remain positive. Pluto, narrow pathway, tread thoughtfully, and fairy guide. So this is a blank card in this deck where you can actually draw your own guide, and I always allow it. If it comes up in a reading, then this is still a message, and this very clearly to me, because this is this card as well, is about connecting with your guides, So the Earth Angel in this deck, this message is connect with your guides. This is connect with your own fairy guide in specifically with this deck. So it's really asking you to meet them, connect with them. How exciting, right? I mean, maybe you already have lots of guides or one guide. And so in that case, I would really say, you know, you're just being, well, you might be being asked to go deeper with those particular guides, but you may also be being asked to connect with a new guide. And how are you going to know? Well, it's all about your intuition, isn't it? It's about developing that relationship with yourself and with your capacity to listen, be still, have presence and awareness. So let's go through some of the specific messages. So these two here are very much just confirming for me, this is about guides. Okay, this is mainly about guides. What else do we have here? So we have, let me go to sensitivity first. So this card speaks to the whole kind of spectrum that, you know, in order to be able to listen and to be able to respond to other realms, we need sensitivity. We need to be aware of what is impacting on us, and that is the nature of being sensitive, right? It's about being able to feel or sense what is happening in our body, in our mind, in our emotions, in our surroundings, in people around us. It's developing that insight. So in order to develop that insight, we need to stay or be able to go into a very neutral and calm space. And that means being able to go into a space where we're not affected by our emotions, by our thoughts, where we're able to clear our mind or our whole energy field to really fully receive. And of course, I'm sure you're very aware that different people receive in different ways. And so developing your own understanding of how you connect with other realms is an important element for you. And I'm trying to think, I'm sure there are ways to do that. You know, if you think of like yeah, I mean, your sense, you may know already your sensitivities. Are you more aware of sound? Do you get very affected by like loud noises or music playing in a shop or a bar, or you know, what does the sound kind of really impact on you? And if you have that sensitivity, then sound and hearing and listening is going to be one of those things you can tune into. The same with vision and sight. Can you very easily see things in your mind and allow an open space for pictures to come in? Or if you can't, you need to create that, right? But you can easily visualize, see colors. You've got what we'd say clairvoyant kind of intuition. And maybe it's more feeling, it's in your body, it's somatic, it's embodied. You might get sensations in different parts of your body in response to different things. And so we're tuning more deeply into that and understanding more clearly exactly what is being communicated and getting concrete answers. So if you want to really train yourself psychically and you want to be really good at receiving messages, then you need to test yourself, okay? So you want to be open to receive, and you want to be open and expansive to what messages might come in, but you also need to clarify that you're receiving accurate messages, especially if you're starting out early on, because it's very easy to go into our own story or our own imagination or our own feeling without bringing it right directly back in. So I would find a way you can quantify your intuition to start with. So, for example, one practice I've done is where you have a friend give you an object. For example, it could be a crystal like this, but it's wrapped up in tissue paper, you don't know what it is. You hold this in your hand and you channel, right? You tune in. What do I see? What do I feel? You might tune into temperatures or like space. Imagine projecting yourself into the space inside the object, and what's it like in there. You might imagine yourself standing back from it and visualizing it from a distance. It's like this visualization. You might try touching it, tapping it, knocking it in your mind, right? And listening, what kind of sound does it create? And, you know, be really clear and open with that. I'm stepping back from it, and from a distance I kind of see this, or I'm tapping or knocking at it and then getting this kind of sound. And see what you get, see what responses you get, and then try it with different objects and start tuning into where you're being accurate, or what particular sense is most accurate for you, or gaining information, you know, okay, like a crystal, when I knock on it, sounds like that, but if it was something like a plastic flamingo egg cup, it would have a different sound, right? So it's like, well, what is that sound going to be like? So you're tuning into the kind of field of different objects, so you can get a clearer sense when you tune into things what they are. And this is going to expand and help you just trust your intuition generally, and get that sense as well, just that kind of energetic sense of when you're on track. Because my experience doing this is I started to realize, okay, I know I'm off field now. I know I'm wandering off the track and I'm not really sure. It might be accurate or it might not be. And to like come back or just stop, you know, just like do little tiny pieces to kind of really tune in to that kind of understanding. So that kind of physical, like actual training practice is really helpful for you to understand where you're on track and where you're off track. So you might be very good at intuiting a person's emotional state, or what's going on in a relational dynamic. And you might say, before you speak, can I kind of, you know, tune in to what might be going on, and let's see if I'm accurate or not. And that might be your sense of skill. So you can use it to kind of experiment with different ways. And developing the sensitivity is really important. And so this is where I think this Pluto card is coming in and speaking, is that in order to be super sensitive, we need to go through some really full-on transformations. We might be born gifted with natural abilities, but even with that, still there's usually some aspects of our life that really need to be worked through and transformed in order for us to really be that clear channel. This can be things, you know, things that might be obvious to you, like the diet, getting time in nature, you know, your room, your space being clear of frequencies and waves. You know, your phone is off 5G, you've got your Wi-Fi turned off every night, so you're really clearing your field with that. And then also things like detoxing, physical detoxes for your body, drinking lots of water, might be kind of more relational, like making sure you clear your field of people who are impacting or impacting on your space that is not helpful, or that is creating lots of ups and downs. Finding ways to regulate your body, going into meditation, breath work, yoga movement practices, whatever it is that you need to really clear your channel. It's going to help, right? It's going to help. And there might be different places or spaces as well that you feel like, oh, this is where I can connect with my guides. It might be, I need to go into nature. When I'm in nature, that's when I feel really connected. I need to go into meditation. When I'm in meditation, I receive messages. It might be, for example, in your dream state, you might receive messages through your dream state. You might yeah, you might need to be in kind of like busy busy situations, or like fill up with that kind of busyness. And actually that somehow is also clearing and cleansing for some people, so that you can maybe receive or see messages or understandings through being out and about in the world. Like things just happen, synchronicities happen, connections happen, and then you're able to kind of piece things together. So these are all, different ideas of like ways to deepen this connection. Narrow pathway, tread thoughtfully. So I think this is what, I've already been speaking to about the sensitivity, about the kind of gauging and finding that sense or that space or that knowing where you're really trusting, like it's developing this relationship with yourself and your guide and your intuition into how can I really forge this relationship, because this is a new relationship, right? Or new or a deepening relationship where there's more information, more understanding, something something powerful, there's something really powerful. It wouldn't come up as a message if there wasn't a really powerful message or insight, understanding, or relationship that wants to come through in this energetic realm. And actually, as I'm thinking, so the pile 1 reading I just did was all about relationships and how to expand and heal relationships and work through them. And you might want to listen to that reading specifically with the intention of applying it to your relationship with your intuition, with your guides or guide, or this could also be a loved one or someone who has passed on, who has died. It may be also a message that wants to come through from them, or a way to relate with them. Remain positive. Okay, so even with like, it can actually be quite grueling and quite intense, doing these things. You say, oh yeah, just go to a yoga class or just change your diet. That in itself can be a huge thing for people to do. And this is why it's like this transformation. But for you, I believe that there is a sincere passion and devotion to want to connect and to want to dedicate yourself to being able to communicate and connect with those who are around you. I can just, I'm just feeling right now, I was just like feeling all these people around, all these beings around that, want to connect, that are listening, that, want to come through. And so really trusting in that passion and that devotion, and really committing to this relationship and to go through these things, because, okay, maybe, yeah, I, don't really like changing my diet, but I know that if I really do it, then this powerful and beautiful relationship or experience is going to come through. And so motivate yourself, remain positive, focus on the benefits, on what you can achieve, and not just you, but the benefit of the guide or whoever it is or the energy that you're connecting with. Like build that joy, that potential, that excitement for what could happen. Maybe you can channel a book, maybe you can create a new training or a course to share with people. Maybe you can transform yourself to have a joyful life, a happy life, feel connected, feel you belong on the earth, feel unafraid of death. There's huge potential for this kind of communication and connection. Okay, one thing I haven't spoken to is this mediator. Let me just read. Light attribute, gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life. Respect for both sides of an argument. The shadow attribute, the shadow side of a mediator, is negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. Okay, so I feel this is really talking about spiritual hygiene, about being able to keep yourself in that central and clear point where you are open to what you receive, and you also have a very clear boundary about your own practice, that you are doing this for the benefit and the good of humanity, of our society, of the earth, as well as yourself. So you put yourself in a space of virtue and check your motives for doing it. So using this is, there's so many people. I notice, more and more people are offering coaching or guidance or workshops or whatever it is. And I know personally within these offerings, there are people running these who are not virtuous people, who are not operating from that pure place. And it means I have to check my integrity and check why I'm running things. Am I doing this for the benefit of all? And making sure I keep that in balance with the benefit for myself, because it's not that we give up ourselves, right? But it's to benefit you and everyone, and just keeping in that place. So, ultimately, I now have gratitude for those people who have awoken that in me and helped me check myself and make sure why I'm offering things and what I'm doing. And I'm aware that I want to make sure that I'm only working with energies that are in the same vibration as me, because if I'm in it for myself, then I could well call in an energy that's only in it for themselves, and that could create problems. So your protection, in this and in these realms, is to be in your own integrity and to be in that real clarity. And then it's not an issue, what you're going to mix up with, because you are holding the power in that situation, and in terms of a benevolent power. So stay in the I say stay in the light, but we all know that shadow work, the Pluto, this is the shadow work, is part of it. It's not about avoidance, and it's not about suppressing emotions that we might term as negative, or situations that we project our own shadow onto. It's about actually staying with those situations, working through that transformation, being virtuous, being thoughtful and considerate, staying in our hearts, right? In our hearts, and creating that benevolence within the world around us. Having integrity, really having integrity within the work that you want to do. So I'm just checking if there's anything else that I wanted to speak to from this particular group. I think just the reminder of the excitement, the kind of unveiling of secrets. I feel like so much is being unveiled and revealed around the earth, and in like great ways, and also in challenging ways, about our government and the way things are working in the world. There's a huge amount being unveiled, like in the physical realm, and that gives us this capacity in the spiritual realm, in the energetic realm, to experience the unveiling there as well, and the transformation, the seeing through the layers. And how exciting to kind of really see the truth, experience the truth of who you are, the truth of the greater experience. There's a whole wealth of insights and experiences awaiting us. And yes, we need to stay grounded in the physical too. The message for you, if this resonates today, is to also expand this into other dimensions. So thank you so much for tuning in, Pearl number 2, group number 2, and look forward to chatting with you again another time. Lots of love. Okay, so welcome group number 1 with the beautiful white tulip here. I'm going to put this over to the side. I think it should still be in frame. Actually, I might put it over this side here. Okay. So what I've done with the readings today is So before doing the video, I've pre-picked the cards, taken them from the deck, and with real, dedication and sincerity, like picking from lots of different piles what is right for the message for this group. And then what I did is actually, I then looked at the cards and I spent some time with them and looking into their readings a bit more if I needed to, and tuning into what the message was. And this is so I feel like I can really give you a direct and clear message. And also for me personally, sometimes I prefer to have time to sit with something before explaining it. And sometimes when I'm recording these videos, I notice that I might rush myself, or I don't give myself the amount of time that I really want or need, because I'm worried about people getting bored or something. So I'm I'm kind of doing it for all of us to have a really beautiful, clear reading. So this deck, this pile, so the main energy of this reading is this card, and this is the soul mating card. So I picked this card, a card from this particular deck, to signify the reading. Soul mating. And what this is speaking to is relationships and the dynamics between people. It's about the interaction of souls between one another and the dynamics within that. So I'll show you some of the other cards and we can explore a little bit about what is being shared with you around soul mating at the moment. And this can you can reply as a message. You can apply this to both romantic and non-romantic relationships, because there is crossover, of course, in how we navigate the souls in our world. And it's really good to remember that when we meet with people, we are meeting in the physical level, and there are experiences within that, and we're also meeting in a soul dimension and a soul level, and loads of other energetic dimensions, emotional experiences. There's whole layers to our interactions with others. And so this is really asking you at the moment to focus on your relationships and to experience them as soul relationships, and look to that soul aspect of the relationship. So when we look to something as a soul relationship, it is it can be, for that ultimate pleasure and benefit of our body and physical experience, but it's also about the journey of our soul, our healing, our expansion, our ability to interrelate with energies and creative forces, other creative forces in the world, because we are all creators, right? So we're all weaving and mastering our experience, and this is how we engage with those other master weavers in our life, the significant ones in particular. So let's see some other cards. We have the Mother Praise here, and I love the reflection with the colors in here, these blues, and her hands on her heart as well. We have from the Archetypes deck by Carolyn Miss, the Pioneer. Divine Perfection, Archangel Melchizedek and Selenite. And we have Opposition, Opposition is from a deck about astrology. I think it's called Astrology. Oh no, it's called Heavenly Bodies. This is the Archetypes deck. This one Secret Language of Light is this one. This is this Journey of Love, Crystal Mandala Healing Oracle. Then we have fogged in, like more blues here. Success, the Singer of Intuition, or Singers of Intuition. Again, these blue, I'm going to put these blue colors together. And then we have the Master Maker. So this is a really beautiful and interesting spread, because I'm going to go to each card individually and speak to the kind of collective, like overall kind of themes that really came up, especially when I was going through them. And I'll hold the cards up a bit closer actually, because I've got the camera's quite far away. So let me check. You can see this beautiful card to start with. So when we are looking at relationships, they generally take time, okay? So they are things that evolve and transform and change quite dynamically throughout our lives, in short spaces of time or over long periods of time. They are constantly evolving, and what is being asked of you here is that you are experiencing perhaps both the perfection, this divine perfection, this beauty and excitement and joy of interrelating, and also the challenge, which is the opposition. So the opposition is about the imbalance. It says here, imbalance, imbalance, a point of tension and a power struggle. So the people in our life can challenge us, right? They can really make us have to reevaluate or relearn or change ourselves or a situation in order to find balance and to find harmony. And the irony or the paradox is, and this is what this card speaks to a lot, is the paradox of perfection, is that everything is perfect. You are perfect exactly as you are. And within that, there is space for growth and there is opportunity for transformation. And what we need in order to have growth and in order to experience perfection is opposition. So when we have a challenge in our life, and in this case, the opposition means the planets. So you'd have planets in opposition on your chart, like two planets 180 degrees opposite one another. They've got the kind of engagement in this polarity. And what that polarity does for us in our life is it can bring about challenging situations, but those challenging situations are the places in which we can step more fully into our expansion and become just a more exquisite human being. So already we're perfect, we're born perfect, everything we experience is exactly as it needs to be and should be, and we want to keep evolving and transforming and changing, because this is the nature of our being, right? The nature of our experience of life. We know everything changes. It's the rule of Tao, it's a rule of Buddhism, I'm sure in many others as well. It's a principle of nature. Nothing stays the same. You know, these flowers, this beautiful tulips, even they were, you know, they're falling and they're dying, but even with that, and these petals fell to the ground, which made me feel like I want to bring them into the reading today, because they're so beautiful still as they are, right? Even though it's not as the flower, it's changing, it's dynamic. Then they'll shrivel and they'll change and the colors change, and then they become dried petals, and then you can use them to make tea, or, you know, it's constant evolution. So remembering that that is the nature of our existence, is change and evolution and transformation. And so no dynamic, no relationship, no situation is really going to have that consistency in the whole of it. Okay, it's not going to be exactly the same the whole time, but there are elements that can stay the same and will stay the same, because we are eternal beings as well. It's this dynamic this opposition speaks to, that we are both very in a very temporary existence in our human bodies, and we're also in an eternal experience in our soul. And so within this reading as well, we have the Mother Praise, and this beautiful card is about protection. But what I love about this particular the reading of this card is that yes, you are protected. Know that you are safe. Know that you are loved. Know that you are supported by, if nothing else, you are supported by the divine and by heaven and by the earth itself. All of these things hold you and nurture you in your experience, whatever is going on in your life. And this safety helps you to step forward, to step into courage, to step into the expansion. So knowing that although things may seem a bit unclear right now, I expect you're in a state where there's some confusion around relationships, or maybe where a relationship is going, or something that's going on within a relationship, or how to resolve an issue in a relationship. Wherever that fogged in nature is, and I invite you to focus on that within this reading, because the readings really come in to help us in the most challenging areas in our life. So where you are feeling generally trapped, fogged in, or you can't see the future, the invitation is to not to stop, but to slow right down, to know that you are taken care of, that you are safe in this world, in this life, and that to keep moving forward slowly. When you keep moving forward slowly, you're more easily able to tune into your intuition, the singer of intuition. Singers are like angels, and they are letting you know that you are able to tune into your intuition, to really drop into your own guidance and know the way forward. It's going to be easier for you if you take your time and slow down and create the space within your being to really tune in and listen to your own knowing, to your own truth. Outcome, success. Okay, so whatever the situation is that you're focused in on, know that you're going to reach your goal, that you're going to receive the insight, the wisdom, the beauty, the healing, whatever it is from the situation. And I don't feel like, when we say success in a reading like this, a general reading, it doesn't mean, oh yeah, you're gonna, he's gonna propose next week, or your sister's gonna call you, or, it can't be that specific. Really, with these readings, we can't be that specific. But what we can know is that if you keep moving forward, you listen to your intuition, you treat any challenge as an opportunity in order to expand and grow, and you are going to really be able to evolve your relationships with others. We've also got this Pioneer card and this Master Maker card. This is beautiful because this is very related, these two cards, because the Master Maker is a pioneer. It's about someone who is stepping forward into what they want to create and is taking the time. Again, the Master Maker is very deliberate, takes his time, he does things well. That he's a master. He's a master at what he makes, or she is a master at what she makes. And so she doesn't rush. She goes slow, and she is considerate and careful about the steps she takes, the materials she uses, the way she crafts with her tools. And with that mastery, real dedication, there doesn't mean that it's easy, right? This is challenging. It's challenging, but they are creating something very, very beautiful and something very precious. And so with our relationships, taking our time, using the tools that we know, and really giving ourselves that focus and dedication to achieve our goals without it having to be instant, and without our goals having to be more than creating like a harmonious and beautiful experience for not just yourself, but at least one other. And this is a principle of working with energy, working with magic, working with manifestation. If we make our benefits just about ourselves, then that's when we can go into like a selfish kind of attitude. We need to be benefiting ourselves and at least one other person, if not the world, you know, for the benefit of all, for the good of all. This is in many like Wiccan prayers or spells, as you know, I offer this, or I create this for the good of all. And this is a pioneer, right? So not everyone is doing that. Not everyone is operating from that place. It doesn't matter. You need to be in integrity for your soul, for your purpose in moving forward. So focusing just on yourself is probably going to keep you longer in this fogged in, uncertain time. The pioneer is someone who does things differently, someone who is looking at how to create a new way of being and forging, just like this guy. He's a forger. He's like, makes jewelry. It's a forge. Forging the way forward for a new experience. What is the shadow of the pioneer is the compulsive need to keep moving. This is what it says on the card. But the pioneer in a shadow is not able to stay with a task, not able to stay in a situation or relationship. They want to just, jump out, find something better, find something new, or find a new way, so that they don't have to actually sit with a real challenge. It's just, where's the quick success? Where's the quick solution? I just want the way out. What you're being reminded of today, because you may know a lot of this already, and these are just reminders to you. The reminder is to go slow, to think creatively, think about how you can make this relationship a masterful experience where you are really channeling the highest and most powerful energy you can to up level this situation. And when I get this with this reading, what it reminds me of is my relationship with my daughter's dad. So I co-parent my daughter, and we've been co-parenting for 7 years. And that co-parenting relationship, almost more than any other, I would say, even like my mom or something, that relationship has really made me have to step up to be a better human, because I care so much about my daughter's experience of life, and that she feels loved and cared for, whether she's at her dad's house or at my house, that I have to let go of all my judgment, my baggage, my desire to gossip, or create this kind of these kind of natural things, that what feels natural for human, this kind of quagmire of like feelings, and just utterly blast and cleanse that out, so that I can be really compassionate for her dad, non-judgmental, even if what I think he's doing is ridiculous and wrong. I have to find a way through that relationship, that dynamic, that is going to not destroy the co-parenting, because that experience with my daughter's so sensitive, that impacts her. She can tell, she knows. And so, and I'm looking at this as mother praise. This is my prayer, is that she's happy. And if I create a bad relationship with her dad, she's not happy there. Or she's not even happy, with me, if she sees what I'm doing, so it's because she's my daughter and she's going to be here a long time. I've got to really step up and not, I can't just, walk away from it. I can't be quick about it. I've got to really be careful and think about it. So, and I do feel, there's been challenging moments over the years, and there's definitely been times where, I've called him rude names and not done things exactly as I should do. But in essence, the trajectory has been to move up, and that has created very powerful results. And I'm not saying that it's always easy to do that, or even possible to do that in a relationship. And to clarify, when her dad and I separated, he's not especially spiritual, but we had a conversation where we said, you know, we want to work together to be really good parents, and we had this vision that one day we would go on holiday together, where she could go on holiday with both her parents. They're being separate couples, and that hasn't materialized yet, but I feel just even having that vision creates this platform on which we're able to work through the stuff and get to a point of real compassion. So anyway, bit of a detour there, but what I'm really speaking to is this dedication, you know, this dedication to mastery. And so you are up leveling your relationships, and that can be really challenging, you know, it can be really difficult, and you're going to be meeting the shadow of others, and the shadow that you meet of others in the soul, in these soul connections, you know, deep soul connections, it's your shadow, right? They're just a mirror. That person is just a mirror for you. And so you have to look at yourself really damn carefully and be aware that just projecting a load of stuff onto them is not going to fly if you really want to shift and transform this relationship. And if you are not dedicated to changing yourself in the situation, then you're going to keep meeting it in someone else. You're going to keep seeing that shadow. And you don't have, you know, you don't have to stay with it. You don't have to stay with that situation, especially if you're in physical danger of physical harm, you're unsafe, then of course you need to split and work that stuff out away from a person. And do you know, even a lot of this stuff can be worked through energetically. If it's, you know, a really troubling, difficult situation, you can work through so much just by doing your own work. And I've had that experience where I've gone through some deep healing process, and it has unbelievably transformed a relationship with not a romantic relationship specifically. It was actually a different one. I don't want to go into details because I want to be really anonymous, but it really transformed a relationship, and I was shocked at how much it worked. So I used constellations work. It's called family constellations or ancestral constellations, and also ancestral healing. There's lots of different practices you can use, but if you really go deep and with sincerity into those practices, then you will see changes. You will, and it will blow your mind at what's possible. So I'm just checking if there's anything else I want to share with you today. So I think just, what's just showing up like still to speak to is just the heart. So the heart, and wow, I saw a heart here, but there's not actually a heart there, but when I didn't look, I saw a heart here. So yeah, this heart, and this glowing, this light, this divinity, this heart within you, and the mother holding this heart too, really connecting in with your compassion for yourself, helps you connect with your compassion and love for others. And again, this can be like a direct work, and it can be moving in very, very gentle ways, soft ways, sweet ways, very caring for yourself, or needing to step into softer and more caring, sweet energy with others, even if you don't feel it. Like a really good tip that I received was, if you're in a really difficult situation and it's hard to have a conversation where you're kind of talking at each other, or you can't hear it, like someone isn't hearing your point of view, there's this kind of clash of being able to actually sit and speak and listen to one another. You have to be the bold one. You have to be the pioneer in that situation, and you have to listen first and fully listen, like from your heart, right? Fully listen, and receive that person, hear them, reflect back to them what you're hearing, check you've heard them exactly, check you've heard what they said. And then they are then heard and received, and then they have got the space to hear you, but you have to do it first. And I did have a friend actually who, when I reminded her of that principle, she said to me, what if you feel like you're always the one who's listening first? Then, you know, maybe that relationship isn't fully satisfying your needs, and you need to communicate that, and you need to share that with the person and say, do you know, this practice, what I've been doing in this relationship is listening first, but sometimes I feel I would like you to listen first. Can you do that? Would you be able to help me with that? And then see, you know, and then see. But bring that, you know, bring that to the situation, bring that wisdom, bring that insight to the situation. So I think that's all for now. So sending you so much love. I hope that was helpful. It's quite interesting reading. Doesn't feel like my normal reading. It's not a prediction. It's more a kind of reminder of principles and how to work through maybe some challenges. Yeah, and a reminder that you will get that. You'll get that. You'll get what you need in the end. Success. Okay, thank you for listening. Hello, group number 3. Thank you for joining me. And here is your reading. You have this pink rose, which is wilting a little bit. So I'm actually going to put it back in its water so that it can have a much needed drink after sitting out for a while. So here is your reading. So I've selected these cards already. I sat with the question and I asked for clear and concise messages to share with people about their soul journey, where to focus, and some specific energies to explore. So group number 3. So and this is the other thing, is I've also so after I picked the cards, I looked at them and I sat with them, and some of them I might check the book and just like really sit with what the message is in the cards, so I can be much more clear and direct, and be able to hopefully give a really really powerful reading for you. So I really hope this helps you in whatever area of your life needs to explore. And so yeah, so just letting you know, I've already had a little dive in, so it's not like a kind of big surprise to me what the cards are, and there's an intention behind that. So group number 3, your soul journey guidance is the small task of enlightenment, that little easy peasy thing that is a mystery and a huge journey for us all. So enlightenment, what does this actually mean? It's like awakening, it's opening, understanding, consciousness, reality, ourselves. It is this powerful insight into why am I here? Who am I? Where am I? It's exploring all of these questions, and maybe, if you're lucky, finding some answers, but we won't put too much pressure on ourselves. So, okay, let's look at some other cards that came with this. We have the Pearl Threaded. Let me show you this card. Very beautiful colors card here. We have the Seeker. This is very appropriate in the Archetypes card. The Seeker. And then here, Libra from the Astrology deck, Heavenly Bodies deck. Put this here, those colors are nice there. And then Her Golden Grace. This is Lakshmi. Infinite Abundance, another sister card. Goes well with Lakshmi over here. And then we have Tobira of the waters, very beautiful, and improving health. These are both about healing. So there's actually quite a lot of kind of, they're almost, there's 8 cards and they're kind of in pairs, and so I could pair them up even like this. Enlightenment with the Seeker, the Pearl threaded with Libra, improving health with Tobira here, and Lakshmi and infinite abundance. And it's like each of these has a specific like, it's like they're like partner cards that kind of like support each other's energy. And it's interesting, you know, because that's what we can start here. Maybe this is what Libra is about, right? Libra is about finding balance and harmony, particularly in relationships. But someone who is a Libra, who's born in the sun sign of Libra, they will look for ways to find peace, to make everyone okay, everything okay. And this is where they can get labeled as being indecisive, because they just want to make everyone happy, right? So sometimes that's quite tricky, and they're looking for ways to do that. They like balance, they love beauty, they're ruled by Venus, and also wonderful, you know, usually I'm not saying we're all exactly like this. We have not we, because I'm a Scorpio, but my daughter is a Libra, so I know Libra fairly well. But they are wonderful talkers and communicate harmony and joy and playfully as well, in my experience. And so the Pearl threaded, this beautiful card is about this connection, right? That we are all pearls on a string, on one string, and that our experience of life is interwoven. And this is what Libra is really aware of. They have this almost just deep knowing, or even unconscious knowing, that we are all connected. And so creating harmony with others, with myself, creates harmony for everyone. And this is what they're seeking. This is what they love, this kind of weaving of the threads. They can be very sociable, and it can also be exhausting to be sociable, because they're trying to find that peace and it's not always there. So this is really about so this is calling your attention, right? This is calling to you this capacity to understand the impact on yourself, your life, with the impact on yourself, your life, of the fact that everything is connected, everything is related. And this in itself is an enlightenment, right? That is one of the enlightenment aspects that we can travel with and really have this experience. And actually, you know, one of my very profound spiritual experiences on a mountaintop in South Korea, in a deep meditative practice, and I saw and I felt very clearly this web of light. And it was funny, because, you know, afterwards people were sharing their experiences, and I was like, we're all connected, we're one. And of course, you know, people say this all the time, and it's a well-known kind of spiritual, I can't think of the word, is concept. But when it's, you know, it's like when you actually have that tangible, like physical, vivid experience of it, then it's like an awakening. It becomes enlightenment. It's like that is encoded now in my experience. I feel it, I know it in my body. I have, you know, it's an intangible concept sometimes, but I saw it and I felt it, and it was very much like this. Actually, it was very much like literally like a web of light. So let's speak to this a little bit more. Enlightenment and being a seeker. These questions, you know, they usually come to us in challenge, right? It's usually the challenges and difficult moments in our life that cause us to want to seek a bigger truth. There must be something greater than this. There must be a reason for this. There must be something else going on here. It's not just that life is this challenging, whether it's for me or you witness it in others. it causes us to find greater meaning. And this is, some might say, this is the purpose and meaning of challenge in our life, is to awaken us, is to help us experience something more than physical reality, and to wake us up to the truth of who we really are and our potential and where we come from. Because it's so empowering. We can become very disillusioned and shrink down, become small in our lives when we don't realize the power and potential of ourselves. And then when we can realize our potential and we're not living it, then that can be another challenge. And then that's, you know, another step to kind of grow and improve and expand. So there is a lot of waking up that's going on because there are lots of challenges in the world. And I think, you know, people talk about a greater awakening, and maybe that's true. I don't know, you know, I've only been here 40 years, and I know there was huge awakenings in the 60s and 70s and before that as well. So I don't know if there's more people, you know, awakening or not right now, but I do know that with the internet where we are seeing a lot more of what's going on in the world, and things like witnessing the war that's going on in between Israel and Hamas, or that's going on with Ukraine and Russia. We see a lot more of this stuff because so much more is put online by, you know, people who are there and experiencing things. So these can be huge triggers for spiritual awakening, because, you know, we really think, well, why is this happening? Or some people might ask, why would God allow this? Why would God do this? And these promote us or provoke us to explore more deeply what our spirituality is, what the truth is, what we really believe, and question it. You know, we've got to ask questions. I can testify to having been in a very dogmatic practice for many years, and although on one hand it was very powerful and I learned so much, it was also in some ways restrictive and restricting my mind. And I had to, you know, wake up within that spiritual practice, that spiritual practice was not all I needed. It wasn't all it was doing me damage as well as good, basically. So I needed to leave there, take what was working, take the good pieces, and start fresh or start new. And that's challenging too, you know. A lot of people might grow up in a particular church or religion and have this kind of wake up during their life, and that can be, you know, become a quest. So on this seeker card here, it says, so the light attributes, so these archetype cards, the archetype is seeker. If you don't know what an archetype is, it's it's like a kind of collective identity of something. So for example, the archetype, something more simple to understand, maybe the archetype of a mother. We have an individual experience of what our mother is, and then we have a collective understanding of what a mother represents, and that is the archetype. So this is the archetype of the seeker, the collective understanding of what being a seeker represents. And there is a light side, or a positive side, or good side, and there is a shadow side. So within this we have the light attribute, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. The shadow attribute, inability to commit to a path once found. So within this, so within the light attribute, so this is the positive power of the seeker is, I want to know the truth. I want to understand what is going on in this situation, what is going on in my reality, what is going on in my history, you know, what am I creating in my future? This is the seeker, wants to understand and wants to know. And this is very powerful. What happens is that we can start going down one path, and then we're like, oh, but what's over there? And we'll go over there, and then go over there, and just keep, you know, going through all these different things. And it can be, you know, that can be a thread that still runs through those things that is taking us somewhere, and we need to maybe explore different things. But my understanding, my belief is that for at least one thing in our life, we need to fully dedicate ourselves to it for a good number of years. So my time in a very focused and dedicated spiritual practice, solely in that one practice, going really deep with it, was about 7 or 8 years. And I still practice some of it now, but not like I did then. At that time, it was, my life, and I fully went into that practice. And I think that was really important for me to have that experience and to really feel the power and benefit of it. And I still have spiritual practice, but it's not that I'm doing the same thing every day. It's not that I'm in one practice, one religion, but I still dedicate myself to particular practices for a while, go into that, learn that, and then use what's relevant in my life, and kind of, over the years, like filtering things so that I'm on generally a more upward trajectory, although, it wobbles, that's the nature of it. But so what I'm saying is that you don't beat yourself up if you are not on one particular track all the time, your whole life. For some people, the nature and the experience is more to explore different things, but still on an overall journey, we have, a specific destination. And we might say that if we have that specific idea, okay, I want enlightenment, or I want understanding, or I want to understand this situation, or I want to really know who I am, I want to really understand what the nature of our reality is. You choose that thing and then fully dedicate yourself to it for, whether that is for a particular practice or session for an hour or a day, or whether it's, okay, I want to really go into it for this workshop, I'm going to really explore this idea, or it might be over months or years or a lifetime. But being really clear about what you want to know and how you're going to explore it helps create this powerful destination. You can say that asking wise questions gets wise answers. So when you choose a destination, then you've got somewhere to head. You can work through the kind of fluff on the way to get to the deep core of the message you want to know, but keep going until you get there. And that question might evolve, but that's part of that journey, still on that same quest. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so what else have we got going on for you? So with this one, improving health, Tabara of the waters. The waters, the waters in our body, within our earth, so much water, our atmosphere. And water is very reflective of this transitional state, this nature state. It represents our emotions and our feelings, and this fluidity and stagnation that we experience in the energetics of our body, right? So it mirrors the energetics of our body, how it flows through channels, pools in areas, can get stagnant if it's not cleaned. And so we want to keep the waters clear in our body. We want to clean and clear them. And this is going to help you on your quest for understanding who you are and what you're about, improving your health. So this could be a message. If you've been working on yourself to improve your health, then it's working. You're doing a good job. Keep going. Maybe you want to work more with water, drinking more water, drinking more purified, clear, filtered water, and not just, a plastic jug from Tesco. It's got to be good filtered water, or spring water if you can get it, and really take care of what's going in your body and going through your body, and purifying and cleansing, giving your body time to purify itself, cleanse itself, maybe literally being in waters, saltwater baths, going in the sea, going into wild lakes or waterfalls if you've got access to those beautiful places, and really giving yourself that nurturing and healing time. So if you feel that you need to improve your health, then just trust that, and that water might be an important thing to help you do that. I am not a doctor, disclaimer, so please follow medical advice when you're given it, if it feels right or needed to you. But please, this is just a gentle reminder about the importance of water in health, and to keep going. I don't know if you can see these cards actually, but They're very beautiful. And this deck is an answers deck. So if you have questions about your health, then really stay positive, because there is positive improvement that is possible or happening already. So the last two cards in this last pair, this is about beautiful abundance and receiving that. So infinite abundance. Abundance is pouring into your life. This is her golden grace, Lakshmi, who is the goddess of abundance. So this is really saying to you, it is pouring in, it is flooding in all the time. And this is part of enlightenment as well, realizing our capacity to heal ourselves can be absolutely free and can be very simple and very easy when we can find and tune into the essence of our infinite health and energy, and that can transform us by moving through us. And there are many ways and so much information out there. It can get confusing, right? It can get very confusing. So if you're looking for ways to really feel and experience that abundance in your life, looking for where you can have gratitude for even simple things, you know, the sunshine, receiving the sun on your body, the sun on your face. This is so powerful for healing. Just sunlight on your skin is very, very healing. And connecting with the sunset and the sunrise, again, helps balance your hormones, your circadian rhythm, connecting you in with nature. You know, it's free. That nature is free. Breathing, another powerful practice, breath work. Finding a breathwork practice that suits you. I don't like a lot of breath work, but there are particular ones that suit me, and I find that so powerful and so healing. And it's like you start one thing, and then that impacts in one way, and then another thing impacts in another way, and you keep going, and your health can really grow and improve, and your abundance can grow and improve as you really receive these free gifts, you know, the air. Finding clean air, if you can go to the seaside or up in the hills, that clean, fresh air is very powerful. In the forests, these things are free. It's abundance. You know, this is abundance. And I remember, staying with a friend, and a friend who, you know, lives somewhere that is pretty run down. It's not a very impressive house. It's very small, kind of old, falling apart in different places. But I stayed with this friend and I had the best night, so much fun, and we just chatted and we played games, and I was standing in this little bathroom in the morning having a shower, and I just thought, this is richness. Like, this doesn't matter, like, you know, what this house is around me. I can feel it's also deep in nature. I can feel the life here, I can feel the love here, I can feel the creativity here. This is the richness of life. And so it's clarifying, you know, what is richness? Another enlightenment. What is wealth? What is richness? And yes, money can influence that. Money can be part of creating that in our life, but it doesn't have to be, and there are other ways. So I encourage you to explore what you think abundance might be, and really allowing that pouring in, because it's already here. It's already here. Receive it. Can you really receive it and fully acknowledge it? It's another form of enlightenment. So I think I've covered the main things here that I want to say. I'm just thinking if there's anything else that comes to me. I think that's all. I think that's all for this one. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Have a beautiful day, whatever you're doing, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.